Hi, everyone, and welcome to Tap Into Your Creativity in my studio. I'm so excited for you to meet my guest artist today. Her name is Sally Swalla. She is joining us from LA. Her studio and her home is in Los Angeles, and I can't wait for you to meet her. She's an incredible human being. She has a beautiful soul that comes out in her artwork and the way that she creates her work. You can see her soul coming through it. So hopefully she'll join us real soon here, and you can talk to her and meet her. And if you have any questions, please send us your questions. And Sally was actually born in Hawaii. Her mom is from Japan, and her dad was in aviation. And I think she is right there. Let me bring her in. Here she is. Okay. All right. She's going to join us any minute now, and she can tell you all about it herself. So I'm super excited. There you are.
I'm so relieved. I started to sweat. I was like, okay, where's the request button?
Oh.
I'm glad.
You're great. You're here. That's what's important. Hi, Sally. Welcome to my studio.
Good morning. Nice to be here.
How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, it's good. I got my daughter on her, camp Zoom. That went well. So, and I got husband. I'm like, you stay by that door. If she comes out, you're on duty.
Exactly.
Like 3 of his for quarantine. So I think
exactly. Oh my goodness. Well, so Sally, please tell us your full name and a little bit of your background.
Sure. So my full name is Sali, which is weird. I've been called all kinds of things, and I say Sally a lot to get it in, and then I adjust, but it's Sali. And then my middle name is my grandma's name, Hideko, which is Japanese. So that's a clue to my background, and Swalla now because I'm married. But my mom is Japanese, and I think more than I ever knew, that influences myself as an artist. I didn't realize, I grew up military, so we moved a lot. So I was just, thought of myself as American, whatever. I lived in Korea. I've lived in Japan. I went to college in Japan, which was so fun.
Oh my gosh.
I've lived in Alabama, Rhode Island. But I spent all my summers in Japan as a child. My dad would go ahead to get the house ready. And I think that really influenced my aesthetic. And, when you're young, you don't think of yourself as having an aesthetic or, culture. I don't know. What is that? But it got in there. So
tell me, so your dad was in aviation? Is he a pilot or?
He was a Marine pilot. He flew helicopters.
Wow.
Yeah, we moved.
Well, please thank him for his service.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm very happy to hear it.
Yes, I'm hoping that he's listening to us. So thank you so much for your service, sir. And so you moved around all through your childhood?
Yes, every 3 years, sometimes every year.
So how was that for you?
I had a sister 1.5 years younger than me, and I think that made it really better than it could have been. And it's interesting because I was, half Japanese, depending on where I moved. I lived in a small town in Rhode Island where people would say they were going to drive to visit me in Hawaii, if that makes sense. So
wow.
Yeah, and I've lived in Alabama, which is very different than like Hawaii, which has, it was just everything. But because you're young, you just take it for what it is.
Yeah.
And then all the Japanese growing up is just, that's a very solid foundation. And I think maybe that's why it's so strong for me. But.
So do you speak fluently Japanese?
Yeah, I used to. But I don't use it that much anymore. So it's like, it's kind of hard. It doesn't come out as well. But yeah, I do. I can. So
yeah. That's incredible. That's amazing. So when you say that you went to college, you went in Tokyo? Is that where you went? Wow. So tell us about that experience.
That was awesome. So it was when the dollar was strong. So, it wasn't too hard on my dad. I went to this university that when Japanese students, they have to move for their father's businesses and they don't grow up with all their schooling in Japanese, because of all the kanji and just the way that their system works, it's very hard for them to study in Japanese. So they have a Department of Comparative Culture where all the lessons are taught in English. And
so that made it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no, with all the kanji, and I'm trying to make my daughter learn it, but I'm not a very good teacher, so it's not going
Keep
well.
at it. Keep at it. It is the best gift you can give to your kids. A second language, a free second language. It is truly like such a gift. I can tell you because I'm from Mexico. Right? Yeah, I'm from Mexico, and my first language is Spanish, and I taught my kids, and I still only speak to them in Spanish. And they are completely bilingual. So it is so important that you keep on it because you're giving them a free extra language, and it's so cool.
I'm going to show her you saying that.
Yeah.
She doesn't believe me, right?
Oh, no, it's the coolest thing. And then, you know, when they grow up, it helps. To say that you're bilingual, it really does help.
Yeah, it allowed me to be able to go to college in Japan, right? And then from there, I had experiences that, you know, my husband loves his Iowa bar drinking college days. I love my Tokyo dancing at the discos learning days.
Yeah, yeah. But it's important for your children to embrace their Japanese side.
Yeah.
You know, it's important that they have that those traditions and culture very much so as part of themselves.
And it's funny.
And they don't lose it.
And because my mom is Japanese, I found that the way that I interacted with her, especially when she was an infant, a lot of the words, the nurturing words that came out naturally were Japanese. So, you know, it wasn't like, I don't know, in English, goo goo gaga, or it was just yoshi yoshi, just very Japanese way, because I was nurtured by Japanese women. So then that went forward to her.
So do you still have family in Japan?
I do. I have aunts and uncles. My mom is here in San Diego. So she does, you know, and I haven't been back since, gosh, after college. So I won't, you know, years and years. We plan on taking my daughter, but when, you know, she's 7, I've heard 8 is a good time to be able to travel internationally with your kids and like.
Yeah. And she'll remember that for sure.
Yeah.
We were blessed that we had the chance to go last summer. Exactly now we were in Tokyo a year ago.
Thank goodness.
And I came back with this incredible respect and knowledge of this incredible culture. So when I saw your artwork for the first time, it spoke to me so much because it has the quality and the traditional ways with an abstract twist to it.
Oh.
But I was attracted to it right away. So that's a huge compliment to you because you're definitely tapping into that.
I'm glad, you know, and I started painting about 10 years ago. And I think, you know, when you start off, you kind of go through a journey, right? Especially if I'm not trained. I didn't go to school. I just woke up and I just had to paint. And so it took a lot of paths. And the last 4 or 5 years has been interesting because people just, without seeing my face, and my name doesn't sound Japanese, they immediately ask me if I am. And it's just interesting to me what comes out, even if you don't even know that it is. It's definitely tapping into the subconscious.
For sure. So what did you go for college? What was your degree?
International business.
That's great because it helps you now. Because now you have a business. So you have a background business. So I'm sure it helps you.
A little bit. And I ran my own business for 14 years. I had a coffee shop.
You had 2.
Yeah, I did.
So tell us about that.
That was fun. So I had a business partner and she was Japanese, and that worked out really well because we had the same kind of, you know, there's a politeness and a mannerism that Japanese have that is in me, even though I'm half, you know, and for Japanese, I'm kind of loud and American, but it's in there and that really helped. Yeah, we did it. We always say we found our husbands. So she found her first husband at the first store. And then the second one is where I found mine. And then,
oh my gosh, I love that.
And then we were like, okay. No.
Oh my goodness, I absolutely love that. So tell us now, take us back to the moment that you decided, when did you start actually drawing or painting? When was the first recollection that you have of this?
So I always took photography in high school, black and white. And then after that, you know, college, there wasn't much art there. Came out of college, opened the coffee shop. And at some point during the coffee shop, I had decided I wanted to crochet, which is so not me. But I've now know later on, it was like the colors of all the yarn that were out there. And I was drawn to it. And so my mom had painted a little bit before in her 30s. So when we were still young children, she eventually stopped. But I grew up with her art in the house. And so I just picked up acrylic one day. I don't even know what it was. We did it. I started painting in the house, you know, like in a little corner. But I didn't really get after it until I met my husband. And if you follow astrology at all, dating and creativity are in the same house in your astrological chart. So I always say I couldn't become an artist until I was done dating. Like it was always there, but the dating to find the, you know, girls, right? What do we do? Don't tell the young ones this. This is only for, you know,
I love it.
it's a bad example. But so once that was taken care of, basically, it really poured out. And after we got married, we decided we were going to start to have kids. Didn't go as planned. So for like 3 years, we struggled with infertility.
Oops.
And yeah, but you know, it all
Sally
is all
got
better.
frozen there.
So,
oh, there we go.
Oh,
yeah.
Am I back? So I just started painting in the kitchen because we had closed the coffee shop. This was right around 2008-9 when everybody was losing their jobs. All our customers was just getting smaller. So we decided to stop, and I just started painting in the kitchen in this really dark corner that I had to clean the counter of every day. You know, I had like this little 2x2, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I just did it. And then I started putting them up on Etsy because no harm, no foul, and it just took off.
Did you open a store on Etsy at that point?
I did. You know, my sister goes, she goes, who cares? If nobody buys it, nobody buys it. You know, because we were swimming in art at that time. Like, it was just everywhere. My husband, you know, it's not like it's manly art either. So, you know, he's a very manly guy, and he's got these florally delicate type of things everywhere. So we had to get them out, and it just, you know, the universe was working with me, and it just.
So how many years ago was this? How many years ago?
That was about 10, 11 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Etsy's changed since then. Yeah.
Etsy's changed. So are you still there?
No. It changed a lot. I think I got on it right at the best time. It was beautiful. Just the timing of everything in the universe worked so well to say, this is what you're supposed to do. And
interesting.
I took it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So now we can find you on your website. And
I'm blessed to have some galleries that, you know, that work goes to, and so it's just not piling up. You know, ups and downs, you know.
Yeah.
But I just don't take no for an answer. I mean, I don't stop at no. I let it go through me, you know.
So how do you approach a gallery, or tell me a little bit about that process. How has that been for you?
In the beginning, it was crickets. I mean, but you know, I'm the only one that knows that I sent the email out. So it's not like I'm standing on a stage being publicly, you know, a lot of times I didn't get responses. And I look back now, and I wasn't ready. The work wasn't ready. And all it did was I didn't let it stop me. I let it push me more. Okay, I have to get better. Okay, I have to get better. And then, you know, when you're a beginning artist, I feel like you really have to try everything. And then you'll eventually see, you keep going back to this one, something keeps popping up. And not to get sidetracked by what sells, because sometimes I sell things, or I did before, that weren't what I would like to clarify myself as an artist, right?
Right.
And it just solidifies into that. So
I think sometimes we have to give a little bit, just a little, not a lot, but just a little, you know, to fulfill that part. But I think the minute that you stop asking, and the minute that you think that you are done learning, you become just flat. There's nothing left for you. Yeah. So you always continue to push yourself and work yourself and show up. Yeah. I always say that, right? We have to show up as artists. There's no one that tells us you have to show up. You have to create. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of discipline.
Yes. You have to
Wouldn't
want
you, wouldn't you say that? It's a lot of
absolutely,
discipline. Like,
absolutely every day,
yeah.
no matter what. And even, and you know, and you can tell when your work is going to hit that next level or make that next change because you're a little bit bored. That's
Right.
not the time to quit. Or it's getting
Right.
really ugly, like really bad, and you feel like, oh, this isn't working. Why bother? What am I doing? Right? But that's when you want to really show up, because that's when the big good stuff's gonna come. And then one day
And
you'll
you
show
just
up and
have
you'll be like,
to, you just have to work through it, right?
yes,
You just have to stay in that ugliness and feel it. And then all of a sudden you'll see the light
yes,
and it's the
yes,
best feeling
yes.
ever.
And then you can
And
laugh.
yes,
You
and
know,
then you can laugh. And I
you're like,
think it
man.
parallels with life as well,
Mhm.
you know. Sometimes we feel that we can't move ourselves and we're paralyzed with all this that's been going on right now,
Yeah.
with COVID, and how, you know, we are, you know, constantly in this push and pull situation where
Yes.
should we stay home? Should we go out? You know, make sure that we have our masks with us. It's a whole new way of living.
Yes.
And you just have to keep yourself positive and creating for yourself, because that way you will
You have
fulfill
to,
your own soul to be better.
yeah, you have to be open to evolving. You can't be rigid in what, oh, this is what's working for me. And oh, you know, and I know this, and I thought I knew this, and I thought I lived it. But week 7 of the coronavirus, you know, I threw my back out because, you know, I thought I was living in a way that was moving with what was happening, but I really wasn't. And, you know, you have to be open to knowing that about yourself too. And that
So what
applies to
happened in that 7th week? What happened?
so, you know, March 15th, the school, you know, school, no school. I become a teacher. I open a restaurant. I had
Oh,
committed to
God.
so much. A restaurant meeting, you know, you got 2 people living at home that want snacks and are hungry, you know, because my husband came home to work too.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to, I know I have all these deadlines in my head that I signed up for back in January, February,
Right.
right? And I was like, okay, I can't go to my Pilates, which I need for my body so I can be strong to lift these panels. So I'm trying to do it at home. I was trying to do everything, but calmly, but not. And I threw my back out, like to
Oh,
the point where
God.
I threw up. It hurt so bad. It was like
Oh,
having a
I'm so
baby.
sorry.
Oh, it's okay. But good came from it because you know what? I got to lay in bed for a week and hubby did everything. It was awesome.
See, there's always a positive
Yeah.
to everything in life.
I'm like, you need to, she needs to eat. You got to put something
Yeah,
together.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
and then I learned more about myself there too. And, you know, and then when I was finally back into the studio, I realized I had to rearrange how I was working. I thought I had evolved my process. You know, when I first had my daughter, you know, no longer 8 full hours in the studio free. I thought I had changed that, but I needed to change it again. And then I needed to change it again. And that had to be okay with that. Like,
100%. I mean, the adjustment for everyone has been tremendous.
yeah.
And, you know, and I feel like sometimes we just have this feeling inside of us that we can't change because we are so like control freaks, or at least I am.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we have zero control of anything,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Just you have control on what for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
for your soul, for your mental health, physical health. You have control on that.
Yeah.
The rest,
You
zero
don't.
control.
And it's,
So you
and
have to just kind of go with the flow, and everything is so fluid right now, and you just have to swim with it.
and it's just like when you look at the canvas, you know, you can look at it and you have to see the possibilities. And if you stop seeing possibilities, you don't have the
Exactly.
potential for more joy. You don't have the potential for more of the good stuff. Basically.
So let's go into the good stuff right now. Um, so tell us how you approach a blank canvas. What are your thought processes on that?
So I like that part because I don't have to think. I just do. You know, as I on Instagram, there's a lot of people you can see. Just it's the free. I just free float it. I usually put, because my work has evolved to requiring a lot of scraping back. I first put down a colorful layer that I know that if I go back to, I'm okay seeing it, because I never know what's going to happen.
What's going to happen?
I may
So
go
show us
back
something that you want to talk to us about. Show us your work right now. That'd be
Okay.
fabulous.
Okie dokie. So let's see. I'm going to push that button that turns you guys around. So
Perfect.
this is my studio here.
Look at
And
the light.
I
Wow.
know, well, it used to be a disgusting garage that black widows would fall from. And I'm so lucky we redid it, and now it's got like nice clean white ceilings and it's lovely. And I have
Wow.
space. But so during Corona, let me just see which one, this one. I evolved into this project in my mind that was called Life Distilled. It just kept popping up into my head because you just had to keep removing elements of your life, right? You had to be okay with not going out to restaurants. You had to be okay with not seeing people. So I would have these paintings that would be 4 or 5 inches thick of paint, maybe like this,
Oh,
right?
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you go in a little bit so we
Yeah.
can see the detail on it?
So there's a lot of stuff. And this is the fun part. So they start off like this, like just some color. This is just an acrylic base.
Okay.
And then I will go in and just layer and whatever, and layer and layer. And I get all these good, yummy things. And I
So
noticed that,
you're mainly using acrylic?
no, this is all oil and cold wax.
Oh,
I'm sorry, the foundation, the first layer, I just do acrylic just to get
okay.
that. I don't have to wait for
Okay.
it to dry.
Okay.
But during Corona, nothing was making me happy, and I was getting frustrated with everything. So I started scraping back. I covered it all in white, and I started scraping back and really getting it only what is essential in what I had put down on the canvas.
Yeah.
So that kept
And I
coming
can
to
see,
mind.
like, if you go in more, we can see all the layers
Yeah,
underneath where you scraped off.
yeah,
But it almost has a very pure quality, Sally. It has this, like, I think it's also the color palette that you're using. It feels actually peaceful to me. And it kind of, your eye goes all over the place. You don't have really a focal point on it. And
yeah.
so I think that, it's funny that you relate it to Corona because it gives me the other sensation, a different sensation than Corona.
Oh, interesting. So I noticed that with my work, when people ask me, they say, "What do you paint?" I feel like I paint this, what I refer to as the spiritual side of nature.
Yes.
But oh my goodness, I lost my train of thought.
Well, no, I think that you're always searching. I think that what you have told me is that you're always searching from your layers of your past.
Yeah,
So scraping off, looking into your history and moving forward and finding that voice. And I think you can kind of see it on the way you approach the paint and how you utilize it.
yeah. It's like I'm determined to make something beautiful out of something that's ugly, or something that not necessarily ugly, but something that isn't working
Right.
for my soul
Right.
or
And
for
it
me.
looks like what I'm seeing now, it looks like it's very concentrated on the bottom, so it feels almost like heavier on the bottom.
Yeah.
And then you can breathe. It's almost like maybe your stomach was really tight.
Yeah.
And then you started to breathe and you let it out. So you started kind of meditating with your painting.
Yeah, and then just getting to just the basics, the bare essence, what is actually needed. And these are all like, every line, every mark could be something that happened to me in the past or part of my life. And then
Yeah.
what do I choose to carry forward with me,
Yeah.
which then, is what I
Yeah.
choose to show up on the canvas. So they're
Yeah.
just labors of love though, man. These take a lot of time because they've all
I was going
been.
to ask, how long does it take you? Because it's wax.
Well, so the cold wax is awesome in that it speeds the drying of the oil. And I'll
Okay.
walk over and show you the cold wax can. So here's the cold wax. I like the Gamblin, and it looks like that.
Okay.
And you mix it with the oil paint. And because I started off in acrylic, I think you know this. The fun stuff about acrylic is you just can do all kinds. You can put water, you can mold it, scrape through it, you can do whatever, right?
Yes.
You can't do that with just regular oil paint. So the cold wax allows you to have like these
A
thicker
body.
textures, yes, and it will dry faster. Because me and just straight oil paint and linseed, it's mud. I'm too. I just want it to go fast. I want to do the next layer. I want to
Yes.
go, 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 go,
Yes.
go.
So
So
before we go into that table, let's take us to the back room and show us what you have on the wall because I love, um, the image of the women that you have.
oh yeah, these are
Yeah.
the funny thing is, since Corona, I've only painted maybe 2 of them because we are literally joined at the hip now.
Yes,
so,
you.
yeah, we are together. And I started these. I missed her when she went to school. You know, she was in kindergarten and then 1st grade. And I just, you know, these were paintings that were going to be like this, you know, and they were before they had solidified into their form. And I would
So
see.
did you know that this was forming in your painting, or did you just all of a sudden saw a figure and you're like, oh my God, like I need to do something with it?
It just happened one day. I was working on an abstract and it wasn't working. And I just made this shape and I saw the mother and the daughter together. And then it just happened within like 10 minutes, the painting was done. A painting that I had been working on for, gosh, weeks. And it just came together. And I thought, yes. And these dolls, if you're in Japan, if you're Japanese, you know that we have these dolls called Kokeshi dolls. They're little wooden figures. I wish I had one. Just a head and a bottom.
Yeah,
so,
they're amazing. And they look like the kimonos have all the, you know, the work and the beauty of them. Is there a history in any of them?
Aside from just, you know, me and my daughter or me and my mother, these patterns and these colors, they're coming from my subconscious. Because I see some people have like art books of Japanese prints. I don't have any of those in the house, but I saw a lot of them when I was in Japan when I was little. And those summers in Japan were the best times of my life. They were just so fun and free and magical.
Yeah,
And
I wonder, you know, how much history comes from it, because I wonder if you go back and look at the symbols, if you find something that actually is on books, because the kimonos have so much history written on them, and every symbol that is embroidered has a why, you know, it's not just there. So I love that about, you know, the kimonos that give you so much rich history.
And I like the way that they move. They don't put like the big flower right in the middle, you know, it's a little askew. They're asymmetry, and
like you said, they are like, you are all in one. So it feels like almost like you're wrapping yourself in it.
Yes, this is what it looks like before I add on the figures.
Oh.
So it would be like this. This is 3/4 of the way. I might do more. And then I go through and just shape it, and there will be scraping. And
can you move in a little more, Sally, so we can see the details on that?
Yeah.
There we go.
Is that working? And I like to make those little things. And
I see the mark making on it. So you're scraping off so you can really see the blue underneath. So the value, it makes your eye go deep and then come out, depending, you know, on where
sometimes
you are
when
looking.
I scrape back, it's pure wood. Like I don't want to make anybody sick with my winging the camera around. I know, like this is scraped all the way back to the wood in some of these parts on a lot of my stuff. So that's why.
So do you mainly work on wood?
Yes. Yeah. I am too rough and not delicate to be on canvas. I would tear a hole in a second. Like give me 2 minutes with it and there's a hole.
And I see every piece has its own frame. Can you talk to us a little bit about who does your framing?
Yeah. So my dad used to. I don't know what I'm showing here. My dad used to.
You can switch it around so we can see your face for a minute.
Okay. So my dad, you know, I don't know why he bought this tool for himself. And now I wonder why he had bought this tool. But it worked perfectly because he was able to make frames for me. And I asked him, I said, what would you have done if I hadn't asked you to make frames with this tool? He goes, I would have found something. So it was perfect. And he just made these frames. But now during Corona, I don't want him going to this. I don't want him to be the reason he has to go to Lowe's, you know, and he'll do it. Trust me. He's got his mask and he loves going out.
I'm sure.
You can't.
You give him something to do too.
Yes. And he's like, okay, I'm there. And then he also makes my panels for me sometimes when they're the larger ones. And it saves me from, you know, having them shipped to me, which shipping is expensive. So I can drive down, pick them up. But now I get my frames from, there's a guy down just a little bit south of Los Angeles. The site's called Canvas Place.
And I will write that down for you guys so you can, you'll find that information.
Nice, simple. He's an awesome guy. And they'll do custom sizes. It's probably more for you if you're on the West Coast, because having that shipped all the way to the East Coast adds
Yeah,
up.
you
But
can always find floating frames because what you're
yeah,
using is floating frames.
yeah. And I like
So
to keep it in the wood or the white to keep it
it's
simple.
very fresh, right? It just, well, because you're working on wood and you scrape all the way to the wood, it makes it very natural looking.
Yeah,
So, and because you are also inspired on nature, I think it all like has to work together, and it's
yeah,
working together, you know, with those kind of frames too.
yeah. And it's funny.
So,
I remember think about 10 years ago, you just nothing look you nobody framed anything. And then now it's evolved where it feels like framing is necessary for art. Like another evolution where for a while I wasn't framing because that's how everything was selling and it looked fine that way. And then that changed and I was like, feels like it needs to be framed, you know?
interesting, because I still like the on frame. I still like to
When
paint
they're
the size of
larger.
the canvas. Yeah, when they're larger,
Yeah.
like, you know, like something like this
Yeah.
that I have
Yeah.
behind that it's a large scale. I think that, you know, the clients are already paying money for
Yeah.
it, and then
Yeah.
to add to the frame would be a
And if
lot. So I think that, but sometimes the frame almost makes the painting.
yeah,
You know, it completes it. So
yeah.
it just varies, you
Case
know,
by
it just
case. And I think
exactly.
because my work has so much stuff going on in it, sometimes a little bit of a boundary allows it to rest, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, for
Yes.
sure. So then at the end of that, of your storage area, um, you have your
More storage. It's my
all your boxes and
oh, I
yeah,
took them
look at
out. You
that.
don't even know how many boxes. This whole thing was filled with boxes. Anytime my husband thinks I'm nuts, but like you never know if I need this size. I don't know. You know, so I
Yes.
save everything and
Oh, I see. Yeah.
we have a
I saw
store.
another painting there
Oh
of
yeah.
the daughter. Yes. And on the floor too. Wow.
Oh yeah.
I love, yeah, I
Yeah.
love them. They say so much, you
Thank
know?
you. And you
They
know,
really do.
that I when I did them, I hesitated making them public in the beginning because, you know, this is one of those things that artists do to themselves where it's like, is it cool enough? Is it on point enough? Is anybody going to be interested? And I was very insecure about them because what had been seeing from me before was so different. And then it's like I used to do when I first started these little dancer ballerinas, and they did really well. But I was always kind of like, you know, is it uncool to paint flowers? Is it uncool? And then I was just like, you know what? I don't
You
care.
can't think. You
Yeah,
can't
no.
think. You have to just do. And sometimes, you know, you have two or three different series or even 100 inside of you, and they
Yeah,
just need to come out.
yeah.
And, you know, and hopefully they will, you know, they will speak to you. But one second, I just noticed that I have something that you're going to love. So
Oh,
I'll be right
okay.
back. Hold on.
I'll just dance a little bit.
Yes. Look at my
Oh,
holder.
yeah. It's like the Chiogami paper. Is it
Yes.
like paper that's wrapped up? Yes. Those have influenced me. Aren't they happy?
Oh,
Like,
I love them. I have
yes,
all my favorite brushes in here, and
yes,
this makes me so happy. And we bought it in Japan
yes.
last year, and I just absolutely love all the paper and everything that I wanted to bring the whole everything to back in my house. I wanted to buy the whole store,
I
every
love
store that I went into. I wanted to buy every single paper that they have because their paper is just
amazing, right? And
you
some of
can't
it's
find
like
it.
hand done. I mean, they take pride. They definitely a culture that takes pride in their craft and whatever that
Yes,
they do.
yes, for
Yeah.
sure. So now we have Sally going to
Oh,
demonstrate a little bit on how she approaches her paintings and her favorite tools that she uses because
okay.
they're very different than my brushes that I just showed.
Yes. So first I'll show you my tools. I think I posted a picture yesterday. They're very different.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, I rarely use brushes. Even spreading that big acrylic on, I'll use one of these. They're like dough scrapers. You can
yeah,
buy dough scrapers on Amazon. This one is from Squeegee Press. If you're a cold wax painter, you know Rebecca Crowell, and they came up with just a perfect product. These brayers as well to spread the paint. You know, you roll it.
yep.
I got this from them as well. They have hard ones you can use for like, I think ink printers use them. And this is semi-soft. It's a different texture. It's kind of squishy. You can buy hard ones, you know, and they'll all do different things, which is great, right? Because we like variety.
Right.
And then
Right.
this is a ceramic scraper tool. Scrape paint back. This is kind of like my eraser. This guy, and then I use a lot
for
of
the wax, right?
Yeah, and then my mom would die if she saw this, but I use these a lot.
Oh,
Razor
God.
blades.
Be careful.
Yes. Oh, my baby in a razor. So, I mean, I wouldn't let my daughter touch this either. So
No,
especially
exactly.
because you just leave them all over.
Yeah.
But yeah, these three things mixed in with my cold wax is pretty main. And then these guys, I think probably, let me move this way so it's not in shadow. These RNF pigment sticks. These guys are beautiful. They're pure
Look at that
pigment
color.
wax.
Wow.
Oh, I'm obsessed with this color right now. It's Provence blue.
Yeah, I
And,
love
you know,
that.
I paint in encaustic too, which is a whole nother thing, but you can use these with them. The colors on these are just amazing.
So
yeah,
do you use that stick directly to your work?
I do. I use it as a drawing tool, and sometimes I'll slice off a bit and use use it as a paint. Like I'll slice it off here and just mix it up. And you know, it's not like I'm a rebel, but I don't really follow. I just do it.
Yeah.
Just use whatever I feel like doing at the moment.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so let me see. I'm making everybody sick here. So that's, you know, and I also figured out that this freezer paper as my palette roll. I got this on Amazon because I found that I had these teeny tiny palettes, and while I'm painting, there's just no room for anything, and I was constantly changing the palette. So I just decided I need to rework this. I can lay out a whole big, and I usually have both. This is usually just all paint.
And you cover it with saran wrap? So the
this saran wrap is just paint so that it doesn't extra dry. But this already has like a wax coating on it. It's like that butcher freezer.
Yeah, yeah, it's exactly like the palette, like what we have.
Yeah,
like
it's so close to it, and it's like so cheap. And you just cut it, and then you know you can toss it, and you can get big because you know if you're a painter, you need to use a lot of paint, and if your space is small. You're not, you know, you're limited.
And you want to have all your paints available so you don't feel restricted when you're painting.
Yes. Yes.
So, yeah. So that table right there, is that just more paint? And is it dried out or?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is from I think before the weekend. I didn't have a chance. So it's all dry. And I'm really bad. I never put the caps on my paints. It's really bad. Well, there's one that has a cap on it, so that's good.
What's the smell like?
The wax?
Yeah, no smell, right? Or the smell from the paints, from the oils?
There's I don't have much smell. I don't use a lot of, you know, I don't use Gamsol or any kind of solventy stuff.
So everything is toxic free, I guess, or
pretty much. Yeah, I try to be. I mean, you know, we'll see. I wear gloves, so I have the gloves are always here. I try to do that mostly so I don't bring it into the house because I will make a mess in the house if I am.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay,
so let's start the demo. I'm super excited, Sally.
Set this up. Let me turn that down, and then I gotta make it tall. Oh, wrong way. No, I gotta go back. The yard, and then I gotta move this down.
As you can see, we're not professionals, but we're doing our best.
Angle that down.
Perfect. We can see. Ooh, that's too much.
Boom.
There.
Okay.
Perfect. That's great.
I'm gonna put a lentil bag on there to hold it in place.
Perfect.
Okay. So when I start, as you can see, I have this really bright fluorescent color because I know I might eventually be scraping back to that. Why doesn't it stand? Of course, it doesn't want to stand up today.
Oh.
During the, hold on, let me just push real hard here.
Okay.
This was my fear. I was like, you know, it stood up.
It's okay.
Okay, there. Is that good?
Perfect.
Okay.
That's great. Yeah.
So normally what I first do is I put something colorful down, and that's just acrylic paint.
Okay.
I know that'll come through. And then what I will do is I'll take one of my drawing sticks.
Okay.
And I don't care. And I just do this just to get something down. Sometimes I use more than one.
So you
color.
really do mark making and just random.
Yeah. And then what I'll do is after this, I might do more different colors today. I'm just going to keep it simple. I'll just put something down. Yeah. And then I've mixed up, this is a glaze color. It's a very thin, transparent color with this wax. Can you see
Okay.
the wax? And I've mixed
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Take my brayer and I roll some on here and watch the glow that you get. I just do this to add some color.
Wow.
And I'll just do something like that. I don't even really, nothing perfect.
Right. Exactly.
Then I will take something like this and I'll just kind of smear it just to kind of get some more movement going on. Oh, and I forgot to tell you about my stencil obsession.
Oh, yes.
I completely forgot. How my poor stencils, I apologize.
Yes.
So these guys I use to add some, and most of my mark making is so organic. I found that I needed something more structured. So I decided to try some of these and they work out really well. So
did you design them or did you buy them?
I bought them, but designing my own is my next current, if I ever have time in my life
I
again,
know.
I want to start cutting up my own. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool, I just learned by the artist that was here before, Jose Cacho. He has a printer that actually cuts his stencils.
Oh,
so we should all get one of those.
for sure. Oh, that's actually amazing.
I know,
then,
right? Yeah.
So what I do is from that stage, I want to get it to this stage.
Okay.
Which is what I do with the stencil. So, and again, I'm super random about it. I don't pay any attention. In fact, I have more colors mixed up today than I usually do.
Let me ask you something, Sally. Does the wax make the color of the paint or the texture of the paint? I know the texture changes, but does the color actually go more saturated or less saturated with the wax? Or it doesn't do anything?
If anything, it makes it, you can turn an opaque into a glaze if you put enough of the wax in it. So you can take, an opaque and make it a glaze, but the color itself stays the same. Nothing changes. Yeah. And so then
voila, all of a sudden you have all these layers already.
Yeah, and I'm not even thinking, and I'm not obsessed with my painting yet. I just let it be. I don't know what it's going to be. And then I'm going to show something that you guys this is going to be like, oh, that's so ugly. Why would you do that? But let's see, let's get the brayer back. Always want to clean my brayer in between. But another thing you can do with this brayer is that it makes this lovely.
Yeah,
pasty. One way of putting paint down is like this, right? Where you can drag it. Or I can go like this. You can also do marks by putting little dots here and there, and it'll follow whatever you have. That didn't go well. Fail. Fail. You can put little, like if I put dots on the brayer like that, that's another mark, right?
Yep, exactly.
And then because I use the bright on the bottom, another thing that when it's not going well, or I'm just feeling like I don't really care what's going to happen, I'll just smear it all. And then so that just became that. And then you can do this other cool thing. From there, this becomes a drawing tool. And I can go back in and make,
your marks.
Lines like that, right? And then it's just, you just keep going back and forth. I can use this to make marks. When you're working with this many different things, of course, I eventually do have to stop. It becomes mud. But I just keep going, and then I will let this dry. And then
so at this point you would let it dry?
I would go a little bit more. So this phase right here, this is perfectly dry. And you know what? I'm gonna do what I would do next. I don't have the right colors, but let's just see what we can do. So then I would maybe to bring this back to life, I would take this glaze that I have here and I would wake it up. Right? Again,
I love the waking up. That's exactly the perfect word for it.
Yeah. And then
you're just,
And then I'll go back in and if I had used a darker glaze, let's see, that does other things because then it picks up the
on your texture. on the texture on the stencil.
Mm-hmm. And then now I'll show you what I'll just put a big glob here like this. Okay. And then what I could do is this knife.
Yes.
I would just go back in and then add more marks in. And then that, turns into the next step. And I just keep going. I would just keep going and going and going and going. See,
so when do you think that does the painting inform you that you're done? And how many paintings are you working on at the same time?
So this is an area that I've become more proficient at during Corona, is I will have, it used to just be whatever. I'd have like 10, 20, I just grab and go. But because of Corona, I had to be more precise on what I worked on at each time so I could meet my deadlines.
Yeah.
So 4 or 5 at a time, and they're in different stages. So I'll do 4 or 5 that just have the bright flat, and then I'll bring them all up to this stage, and then I let them dry. The hard part is letting them dry because I just want to go at them, and then I'll end up with mud. But then again, that becomes a different type of beautiful painting.
Right. So let's say you're working on 5. Do you use the same palette because you already have all the paintings out there, and then you start, you know, once they get to the second stage or the third stage, you start changing them around?
I should, right? But I don't. I don't, because you know, sometimes I'll have put this away for like a week or 2, and then I've moved on to another one in a whole different palette. But I've also, with Corona, narrowed, I just leave a certain variety of paints out so that when I'm grabbing and going, there's a cohesion within what I'm grabbing and doing.
Got it.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm really, you know, me not putting caps on things just pretty much describes the entire process. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just go at it.
So show me your face. I'm going to turn back. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I don't know.
No, go ahead.
I was just.
Oh, yeah. That's
so this is this.
beautiful.
And this is,
oh, wow. Look at that blue.
So these take a long time to dry. And sometimes you can just take, and I didn't put this on this, but this is just tissue paper, like when you make a gift.
Yeah.
You can just kind of do this, and you press it in, and you can just do this, and then it'll take away some of it. And then I can turn around and take that and push that down on it. And
you can reuse that for a different painting, actually.
Yes, there's some, and I would take it, yes, and I would put it down on top of the next
one.
one.
And use it kind of like a stencil. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when, you know, just being cautious on when to stop when there's too many thick layers. And then usually when I finish a piece, something will have been sitting for a week or so, and then I'll come to it and I will spend 30 minutes, and then the piece will come together all at once.
That's amazing, Sally.
It's kind of weird. So.
Oh my gosh, that's incrable. I'm going to turn back the comments on just for people to see if they have any questions. You know, your process is so immediate, and you're really not thinking, and you really are going into that space of just unconsciousness and going for it and not thinking. And we all try and get that. We all try and get in that headspace where we're not thinking or being so hard on ourselves that we judge ourselves, what we do, how we do it. You know, I think sometimes we are so much in our heads that we can't work. It almost paralyzes us.
And especially for women, you know, you're wearing so many hats, and especially right now. So I used to be, I dropped my daughter off at school. I could sit in my room, have my coffee, do a little meditation, and then ease my way into it. That doesn't happen like that anymore. I might be in the middle of this, right in the zone, and I need to go make a snack, 900 one of the day. Yeah. But I do have little rituals to make my mind try to click over. So
okay, let's hear them.
If I can meditate, I will meditate for 10 minutes. I don't try to make myself do something too much because I just want to paint. But just to sit down and quiet my mind, you know, and I have my, I have this little chime bowl here. I ding it a few times. It removes all the negative energy. And I just play one specific song. It's a very like Tibetan sound bowl song. I do those things to turn my mind into this space. You know,
you really make it like your temple, like your very sacred place where you come in, you meditate, and then that puts you in a very different mood, and your mind is different. Your mind is just, you know, flowing, and it's in a very different state.
And I think if you're an artist, you just need it. Your soul needs it. It's like, and my husband's not like this person at all. So he could be around the noise and the work. And one time he set up his office right outside one of these windows. And I was like, oh no, that energy,
it's not flowing.
Get away from me, go. I don't want that.
Oh, Sarah. Oh my God. Yeah.
But and if you create, you know, don't let anything stop it. I mean, I've even sat there with, I don't know, my daughter's markers while she's doing her math homework, and I'm just doodling, because doodling is still allowing me to do what I need to do, right?
Oh, for sure. I
Yeah.
love to doodle myself too. So I'm the kind that I'm in a restaurant, and if they have like a paper, paper tablecloth or whatever, I just
Yeah.
draw on it immediately, and it's like my
It's like
child
something
comes
that's,
out, I guess.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
So, um, so Sally, tell us where we can find you.
Okay, my website, sallyswalla.com, and there's a contact page, and on there are the galleries that carry my work, and Instagram. Instagram's been just amazing.
Yeah, it's an
It's
amazing
amazing.
tool.
Yes,
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
met so many collectors that way, and that's the one thing I love about collectors one-on-one through me in the studios. Actually, no, that was a lovely thing about Etsy too, is you would have conversations with the collectors. Sometimes with the gallery, I don't get to know who has it, and I'm always like,
right,
who is it? What's that person like? What's the demographic? And
right.
but it's my website.
So one more question I have for you before we go.
Mhm.
Like, what are your three top tips you think that you would give to beginners or to someone that is thinking of going into the art world?
Don't let the no's get to you. Just completely ignore the no's. And then there are the no's that come from yourself too. Unless it's a no, this isn't done. If it's a no that moves your work forward, yes. But like no because you didn't get into a show or you aren't in a show or you applied for something, ignore it. It's just, there'll be another one. You just have to find the right person. So ignore the no's, definitely. Do the work. You got to show up. Even if it's to come in, and I'll do this even if I just come in, tape the sides of the panels. It's so cliche, but you got to show up. And then you know what? I'm taping the sides. Oh, I see this painting over here. Oh, let me just put it. And next thing I know, I'm off, right? And I think every artist agrees with that.
Yes,
And then the third
100%.
one is it's a little trickier. Just you have to be honest with yourself in terms of who you want to be as an artist. Really know what that is. Don't let other voices and other things guide you. You be honest with yourself. Be honest on the canvas, or it doesn't really work, and you'll waste time. You
That's
don't move forward.
fabulous. I love that.
Yeah.
And who is your biggest inspiration, you think?
Oh my goodness. Artistically, like an artist, or
No, in general. It could be an artist.
who is I guess we always go back to our moms, don't we?
Yeah,
We go back to our
yeah,
moms if we're
yeah,
women.
yeah,
'Cause especially as you get older, you're just like, wow, you did all that and I didn't know, and you did that
right.
and I didn't know, and thank you. And that gratitude elevates your vibration. I don't know if that's a very California thing to say, but it elevates you when you're grateful for something. And
Yes,
yeah, and it just opens up for more in your life.
yeah. Well, I can't thank you enough, Sally. This
Thank
was a
you.
wonderful experience
I
for
appreciate it.
opening your studio. We learned so much. Your process is incredible. I love everything about you. You have a beautiful soul inside and out. It
Thank you.
comes through in your paintings.
You're
You're
so
a
sweet.
beautiful person. I'm so happy you're part of my army of artists.
Yeah, I'm so proud
And
to be a part of it. I can't
yes,
even.
yes, I'm so excited.
Wonderful.
And I just want to tell you guys that tomorrow at noon, Rodrigo Cacho will be with us because we couldn't figure out on Saturday, so my husband had to fill in. But tomorrow at noon, Rodrigo Cacho will be with us, and you will not want to miss that. He's an incredible artist, and I can't wait to have him. And Sally, thank you, thank you, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Sally, I
Honor.
should start
Oh,
calling you because you never said that to me. You never corrected it.
yeah.
So
I
thank you so
appreciate it
much.
so much. Such an honor, truly. Go paint,
Thank you.
everybody. Go paint.
Yeah. Take care. Bye,
Bye.
everyone. See you tomorrow.